Okay, guys, we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Live from the Sword Coast podcast. My name is Kevin Madison, and I will be your friendly dungeon master this evening. With me tonight, as always, are our two regular fixtures for the Wednesday night games. I'll go in the order that you guys logged in again. First up, Steve-O.
Yo.
And Jeffrey.
Hey, everybody.
So tonight, we are going to be creating characters for the Pinnacle Entertainment Group's very, very cool Deadlands Noir setting. This is a setting that is powered by the Savage Worlds system, also published by the Pinnacle Entertainment Group. We have, for our group, we have a little bit of familiarity with the system. Jeff and I played through a couple sessions using a couple different settings for this game, as have Steve and I, but we haven't played any long-term campaigns with it. And this, the plan is, I believe we're playing for 2 or 3 weeks, playing this game. So it will, and I mean 2 or 3 off weeks because we're alternating with our Traveler game. So we will be playing get a chance to see these characters go through a little more. To let you guys know as well, Stephen and Jeff, my plan is, in terms of experience, is that at the end of each session, you will be getting 2 advances. So what that means is you'll see on, I'm not sure what page it is on yours, Steve, on the PDF copy you're looking at, but in the physical copy, Jeff, it is on page, no, that's not right. Where the heck is it? Where are you? Dagnabbit. Oh, here we go. It's on page 47, where it has advancement. It tells you what advancement is.
Okay.
Okay. So what we're going to do is let me send the, we'll just use the character sheets on Roll20 for this, but I just need to quickly log into that and we'll swap over. But yeah, tonight what we're doing is making these characters, and then we will, in 2 weeks' time, we will start taking them out for a stroll. We'll see how much we get through tonight. I might start with a little bit of role playing to kick us off, but we'll see how time goes. So have you guys had a chance to look at the player's guide that I sent you?
For the Noir one?
The Noir one, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. I've looked through it.
Okay.
It looks very interesting.
It is a very cool setting. So page 8 is the page 8 and 9 is where it has sample characters. And what I'd like to start with is just a rough, we'll start with an idea of what you, of a concept for your character, then we'll talk about who they are, and then we'll go to start adding some meat to them bones. Let me send you a link here, guys.
So is there...
Oh, and remember to open it in Firefox, not Google, because, or not Chrome, because there's issues with Chrome and Roll20 right now. Sorry, Jeff, what were you going to ask?
Oh, I was just going to ask about the game itself. If there's like a preference as far as like, you know, should we be making detectives or?
Yeah, sure. Let's swap over. So
like
you guys
some preference to the character types would you?
For sure. Let me get. I'm just going to share screens here and then muck around with my my, what do you call it? Let me present to everyone. Where am I here? I need to mark my camera.
So that to do an update.
There you go. I'm presenting to everyone. Good. And turn my camera off and refresh. Dish. Boom.
Wait, do we need an email? Does the link not show up or what?
I cut and pasted the link into the chat in Google Plus or our Google Hangout. And
there
the camera is still not working. Let me try. What did I set up here? Oh, hello. Broadcast others. Video only. Video only. Reconnect. Oh, you know what? Because no one else is in the thing. Did you guys find that link?
Got it.
Got it. Awesome. Okay, so I have had the forethought to actually set up the what do you call it? The Steve-O's in. Nice, nice. Hey, and the
It's
camera's
just
working?
switching it from Roll20 to.
Sure.
Let's see. Okay, got it. There it is. I just have both and everything open.
Okay, and then you are in Noir. So, guys, welcome to the Big Easy. This campaign will be, or short campaign, will be set in New Orleans in the year 1935. So I have
Nice.
cut and pasted some things to let you know a little bit about the Deadlands setting. So the Deadlands world originates from this Weird West game that was originally published as a sort of standalone product, and then they started jumping forward in time to do a like post-apocalyptic version of it. Excuse me. Noir was a Kickstarter game that was done as sort of a bit of a middle point. But there are a lot of things. When I say Weird West, what I mean is that it's horror with a little bit of humor and pulpy feel to it, mixed with Western. They used to call it, one of their advertising taglines was "Spaghetti Western with meat," and what noir is sort of, it's a mixture of the film noir, detective kind of, everything is, it has backlighting and shadows, or is in a seedy jazz club, or a corrupt police officer, or whatever. All the tropes of noir film and noir fiction are present in Deadlands Noir, but the Deadlands aspect means that there's also horror lurking behind the scenes. We don't need to go into really a lot of backstory about the world. Just, you need to know that the Civil War didn't actually end in a victory by the North, nor did it end in a victory by the South. There are two separate countries in North America, three separate countries, I guess, including Canada, in Deadlands Noir. So New Orleans is part of the Confederacy, but that really shouldn't play that much into the world, into your understanding of it. If you can think of any sort of broad stereotype you can picture from Mickey Spillane novels, or Humphrey Bogart detective films, or Steve, you mentioned Angel Face before, or Chinatown, Angel Heart, or Chinatown. Like, all that stuff is appropriate for the world that we'll be playing in. What I think our adventure is going to be about, what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to run a pre-gen adventure out of the core book, but to be honest, I'm going to let it sort of go where you guys go. So what's going to be more important is you guys going where you want. If it just so happens that the investigation that you've been hired for is what you want to pursue, that's cool. But I think I'm also going to let random shit happen as well. So it'll give us a chance to sort of get a feel for the scenery. And that's one of the things that they recommend for playing these, is that there isn't necessarily a clean delineation between one case and another case, because shit's always happening in the Big Easy that you may not know about. If you want to learn more about the setting, there is some good stuff in the Noir Player's Guide. And I would suggest maybe it's only about like 5 or 6 pages. You don't need to read it now, but between now and the next thing, anything extra that you learn and know about the setting, because this is all going to be stuff that I'm assuming your characters would know, you can feel free to use that information in the session, the actual game. One of the other things, so there's the first little bit is all creating characters, then there's some setting stuff, and then there like some setting information about New Orleans in Deadlands Noir, and then there is some setting rules. The setting rules, the things I want to point out to you, are like some of the stuff that we don't really need to worry about, like the blood and guts, the gritty damage, critical failures. That stuff we'll just, we'll deal with that. It's sub rules in the Savage World system that are applicable. But the ones I want to talk about before character creation are the detective work rules and the patter rules, because they're significantly different from some of the other settings that we've played in. So because you guys will be playing the noir setting, and what we'll be playing is sort of, people investigating. It's going to be an investigative campaign. That could be, a private detective. It could be a reporter. It could be a lawyer who's been hired by someone to, investigate. You could be government agents. Just someone who has a reason to want to go out and try and, why they would be hired or why they would be intrigued to try and uncover some secrets in this in the seedy underbelly of the Big Easy. That's supported by this game, and one of the ways they support this particular type of play is you have rules for hitting the books for detective work. So you can use investigation to try and research. You're looking through city records or like land titles or the old newspapers or deeds or whatever. But you can also use legwork where you're getting out in the streets and talking to your friends and shit like that. And there's really cool rules that we'll be using I'm on page 29 of the player's guide. That tells you about what that does. The reason that's work. Oh, go ahead.
Like 29 of the Noir one?
Of the Noir one, yeah.
Okay.
So the reason that's I wanted to make sure you're clear on that, guys, is because your investigation and your streetwise rules skills are the skills that are really important for those activities. You're making a face there, Jeff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's not you. I'm confused where my window went.
Oh, okay. It succeeded in its stealth check. So those are two things that will be the way that you guys will be able to access more clues, more information. I'm very much not going to be feeding you stuff, but if you go looking for it, it'll be there to be found. Steve, do you see that page too?
The detective work?
Yeah, it's page 29.
Okay, mine says 31, but that's all right.
It says 31 on the bottom of the page, but it's 29 of the actual document.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, sorry, but yeah, 31, you're right. The other thing I want to mention, so there's interrogations, which is where, again, like if you've got someone, you can try and wheedle information. If you knock out you guys are attacked by some goons and you manage to keep one alive, or the other ones run off and you grab one of them, that's what you do to find out who the fuck's after you. Because Noir also embraces that whole, there's an adage that it's not Elmore Leonard, but I can't remember what the name of the writer is. But the thing he had is that, if you ever write yourself into a corner or you feel that the action is slowing down, just have someone kick down the door with a gun. And then that'll get things going again. And I plan to embrace that in here and investigate. What it means is that you guys you'll be confused and not sure what's happening a lot of the fucking time, because that's what's appropriate for this type of game. You think of Chinatown. Chinatown is one of my favorite films as well.
Great movie.
So if you haven't seen it, it's worth watching between now and our next session, because it's totally worth it. Jack Nicholson at his fucking peak, and a ton of other really great performances. But Nicholson's character in that, Jake Gittes, has no idea what's going on until the very, very end of the film, and that's a very noir kind of thing. So, but he always doggedly pushes forward with more clues and trying to uncover more things and trying to put this into context, and that's what you guys will be doing in this game. Interrogations is one of the ways to, help figure out why that guy kicked in the door. And interrogations it's a social conflict, which means it uses persuasion or taunt or intimidation. So those are skills that if you want your character to be really awesome at that, you can, you're going to want to make sure you assign some skill points to that. And the last thing is pattern. So one cool thing, well, tailing is important as well too. That's it's following someone behind. If you spotted someone or you notice someone, say, tracking you, you can try and turn the tails on them and find out who they're working for. And tailing uses stealth, opposed by notice. So that's you. So pattern is one thing that I particularly love about this. Pattern is basically, it's the rules for talking your way out of a situation. So if you're ambushed by a bunch of gun thugs, right, and they draw their guns, they're like, we're going to gun you down. These are the rules that reflect that kind of scene we've seen in films where someone talks their way out of something or stalls them long enough for them to be able to, jump out or whatever. Pattern is on page 32. It's 32 of the PDF. The page number at the bottom is 34. Do you guys see that?
Yeah, everyone's got this blue that's killing you.
It's just loading.
Okay.
For some reason, it crashed in Chrome, and now I'm reloading it in Firefox, and it's going slow.
That's weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
So yeah, so that's that. And Patter uses what does it use? Taunt or persuasion, depending on what approach you're taking. So again, those are social skills. Do a lot in this game to help move the story forward, and also help you, like, because of the Patter rules, you don't have to play a combat monster to get out of combat situations.
So I can't do a lot of stuff anymore.
Ooh, one second. I think Steve might actually be on the phone. Sounds like.
Can I play back in like an hour and a half? Is that possible?
Oh yeah, he's on the phone. Okay, hold on. We'll just wait.
Okay, I'll play.
So yeah, so as you can see, Jeff, like there's a lot of ways where social skills do a lot of the heavy lifting in this game.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. Hey, Steve, you back?
Hey, sorry.
No, that's okay. When did we lose you?
About 2 minutes ago.
2 minutes ago. Okay, so where did you hear about interrogations?
Not much.
Okay, so it's page 33.
Okay.
What I was saying is that's the way to sort of to get information. I think we did lose you shortly after that, because interrogations are if someone attacks you and you capture them, or you manage to grab somebody who's tracking someone that you're trying to track. Interrogations is one of the ways to get information out of them. And then that uses either taunt, intimidate, or persuasion, depending on your approach.
Okay.
And then 1 page forward, Patter is one major way where this differs from a lot of other, like Savage Worlds is such a cinematic, cinematic game that supports action so well. It's tempting to think like you got to blaze guns, guns blazing your way out of every situation, but that's not necessarily appropriate. Guns and gunfire are very appropriate in a noir setting, but more often it's the guy talking his way, out of a fight, and that's what the Patter rules are for. So you can give those a look over. That's what that does. Is it allows you to sort of, it's the scene we've seen where like 5 guys have guns drawn on our plucky hero, and he manages to somehow stall them long enough for him to get to his desk, get his own gun, and then start, firing, or to get himself close to a window and then dive out. And that's
right.
how. So, and Patter is it uses, depending on your approach, persuasion or taunt. So what I was saying to Jeff is that, as you can see, social skills play a really big role in this. That's not to say you don't, if you want to play a character who's got like combat experience or who's, handy with a gun, all that stuff will be useful as well. But the social skills are particularly really helpful in this game. And the Patter rules allow you to be in physically dangerous situations without, and get your way out of it without having to play a character who's got, awesome fighting and a bunch of, edges that support, combat skills and shit like that. Everyone's got a way to be useful in a fight. So, so those are things. The reason that, like I said, the reason I wanted to go through those is so that you understand, what skills will be important as we, as we play through this adventure. I think I've got characters set aside for you. Let me just assign them to you guys here. Okay, let's see here. Oh, wrong one here. Boo, 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 boo. Okay, so Jeff's character, I think, just appeared. Jeff, you should be able to see your guy there. Do you see your guy in Roll20, Jeff?
Under the thing. Yep. There we go.
Yeah. Jeff character.
Yeah, and Steve-O. Boom. You should be able to see your character too. Okay, so pop those open, guys. I'm just going to open both of yours up here. The character sheets for this are pretty good because there's a lot of, I love the tab down options on this. And you can set it up. If you go to all, you can have everything displayed at the same time, which is pretty nice too. So before we get to adding some meat to these characters, let's talk about who we're going to play then. So the year, as I said, is 1935. It is, let's see here. In the Savage Worlds, or in the Deadlands setting, World War II actually lasted until 1920, not 1918. So you could, if you're playing an older character, you could, in theory, play a vet of the First World War. And this is right in the heart of the Depression as well, too. So you'll notice that one of the setting rules is that everyone's broke.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so like it means that you got to basically spend edges in order to, if you want to have access to a lot of gear. It means that your one, pistol or whatever is a big fucking deal. So you want to make sure you keep it and don't lose it. So are there any of the sample characters that are listed there? Anything that sort of jumps out? Oh, maybe if so. Are either of you thinking you want to play like something with supernatural powers? Because there are several really neat kinds of characters with supernatural powers you can play in this. Those are found at the end of the player's book. So you could play a character who's a grifter. Now, a grifter is kind of like a mage that uses, that focuses their spells through like gambling accoutrements. Like dice or cards or whatever.
Sweet. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. You could play a patent scientist. Patent scientists are kind of like mad scientists who invent all sorts of crazy ray gun shit and stuff like that. You could play a voodoo practitioner who has, access to special abilities because of their connection with the Loa. Or you can play a harrowed, which is that you're dead. Now, the downside to playing a harrowed, the upside is you get to play a badass undead guy. The downside is that there is something that in the Deadlands traditional setting, the Weird West setting, they called it a Manitou, but it's really actually like a demon. So imagine you having an evil spirit of some kind that lives in the back of your mind, and sometimes it seizes control of you. And when it does, you are cast into your worst nightmare until you can seize control of your body again. And over time, the demon gets more and, not in a steady incline, but there are ways that you keep taking steps towards losing permanent control of yourself. And the demon knows what you know as well. So it knows the ways to fucking hurt you. So it's a bit of a razor's edge you walk on if you're playing a harrowed character. But anyway, so first of all, do any of those sort of supernatural types sort of strike your fancy there, guys? Or are you thinking of playing a character who's got just mundane abilities?
Decisions. That grifter looks pretty cool, I gotta say.
I figured that the the grifter would appeal to you, Steve. What do you think, Jeff?
Well, if Steve's gonna play a grifter, that's cool. I'll play a mundane character.
Okay. So let's go back to, we'll go back to the grifter rules afterwards, but let's just take a look at the sample characters here. So do you have an idea of who you might want to play there, Jeff?
Yeah, I was thinking maybe I'll play some kind of a criminal type character.
Interesting. Okay.
And
you want to play a grifter there, Jeff? Because I'm happy to play a mad scientist.
No, I was just thinking that might be a good way. If I'm a criminal and I'm running or I'm part of some kind of a casino or some kind of a place like that, that might be how I know your character.
All right.
You guys may have met through there, but the campaign will be starting with you guys on your own. You're broke and you need to make ends meet. That's
okay.
Sort of the impetus is because for this particular adventure, there's a character that you guys both know, whose name is give me a sec here. What I want for the purpose, obviously, I mean, like if this was like an ongoing campaign, I wouldn't be as heavy-handed with structuring the characters. But for the purpose of this short campaign, I want you guys to play characters who would want to help out this guy named Fat Dan Waller. Fat Dan is the proprietor of this jazz club on Bourbon Street called the Old Absinthe House. And this is what you want to see. This is what old Fat Dan looks like.
Old Fat Dan.
The Fat Dan is actually he's Texan, and he's you guys are regular features of the old Absinthe House. You guys are either hang out there, or what could be, Jeff, if you want to play sort of play up the casino thing, you could run a small poker game there. Maybe there's a poker game you run in the back of Fat Dan's place.
Sure.
Yeah, I like that. Then you pay a little cut too, because that gives you a good connection to him, and why you might want to ask around. And then that also allows Steve to play into how you guys could have met that way, is that he showed up and was a bit of a card sharp. Steve, how does that sound to you?
Yeah.
I mean, unless you change your mind and want to be a mad scientist, then I'll just pick a different direction.
If I picked a mad scientist, would you pick a grifter?
Probably not.
I think Brent was going to play a grifter, but again, I don't care about overlap between character types for the purposes. I honestly, Brent has said that he wants to play in the session, but he's so busy with other stuff that
then I'll play mad scientist. How about that? Would that work, or do we need an investigator?
No.
Well,
you just have to make sure that your character has reasons to be investigative.
Right.
Yeah, there's just got to be a reason for why you would you would work with Jeff's character, and why you would work for. I mean, Jeff's character sounds like we've got a good enough connection to Fat Dan, so it just would have to be a reason for why your character would be wanting to. I mean, you're broke and you need money for your science, so that could easily be the reason to be a patent scientist.
Or you could be developing some kind of a gambling machine. And I'm interested in buying some of them off of you to set up in my back room.
A probability analyzer. Yeah, something like that. Maybe I'm developing machines for gamblers to help them cheat or something like that. Good way to make the money. Yes.
I love that. That's super cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, cool. So then we've got everyone gets to play, sort of have their own thematic space then too. So I love that. If you guys are cool playing those kind of characters, so let's learn a little bit more about these characters then. So because I'm looking at the rules on page 7 of the PDF and page 9, that's on the actual number at the bottom, where it says making characters. So because you are human, your characters will get a free edge to start with. And you can find there are some edges listed in the player's handbook, and then also starting on page, actually the summary of it is on page 50 of the deluxe handbook. I'm just going to refresh the camera here, because I think that, boom.
50. Why isn't it going there?
Okay. So the Steve, for your character, because you're playing a mad scientist, you're probably going to want to pick that first edge as your, I can't remember what it's called, weird background, or it's not what it's called. What's it called? Arcane background. So you're going to want to pick the arcane background, patent science.
Okay.
So on your character sheet, what you can add is, if you've got a tab to the all, which you do, if you go down to edges and hindrances, click on add for your edges and just put down arcane background patent science. And Jeff, you can choose to pick your edge now, or you can wait till later and select it when you're a little further.
I'll do that when I'm picking all the edges, I think, because there's a lot of them here.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to open up my mic. Yeah, so you're going to add that in there, Steve-O, and then just hit save. And I'll open up my book. Beautiful, yeah. Okay, patent science. All right. So the next thing you need to do, guys, is assign your attributes. So your traits, which are your attributes, they all start at 4, and then you have 5 points to distribute amongst these. And each one that each point bumps up the skill by 1, or the dice by 1. So if you put, say, 2 points into smarts, that means your smarts would be an 8, a D8.
Right. It goes up by a dice each time.
That's right. Yeah. What I'm going to assume too, guys, is that if you look to page 8 of the Noir Player's Guide, and it's 8 of the PDF, it tells you what you get from hindrances. I'm going to assume that you guys take 1 major hindrance and 2 minor hindrances. So as you're going through character creation, guys, just bear in mind that you will have 4 hindrance points to spend. So you can either like raise an attribute type by 1 for 2, or you can get a new edge for 2, or you can get another skill point for 1, or gain additional money for 1.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The reason that's important is because when you're purchasing your skills, guys, skill points cost 1 point. Each dice of skill costs 1 point for each, for an amount up to the corresponding attribute, and then it's 2 for each one over that. So if you're going to spend some of your hindrance points to bump up your traits, just do that at the outset so that you can spend the skill points appropriately. You're not fucking up the way you're spending skill points.
Right, and act as if we have 2 hindrance points?
4, actually. I'm going to get you guys to each pick 1 major hindrance and 2 minor hindrances.
Oh, okay.
The hindrances
so that means we could spend 7 points on attributes.
You can spend, let's hear, 1, 2. That's right. Yes, 7 points.
Okay.
Yeah, because I found the attributes to be quite useful in when I played this game previously.
Yeah.
Sure they are. 1, 2, 3, 4.
And remember that whenever because you guys are wild cards, you will always make dice rolls with a D6 as well. And then you take the higher of the 2 as your result. So even if you've got a D4 in a stat, it doesn't mean that you're a spaz. It means you're probably a spaz, but you will always be rolling a D6 as well. Okay. Jeff, are you updating your character sheet as well?
Yeah, I'm just deciding. So I want to make him like sort of one of these big, round, tough, intimidating characters.
Love it. Okay. So your what does let me check the skills here.
He probably has to have enough smarts to run this poker game.
Yeah. So he could be deceptively well, okay, there's a couple things. Is you can reflect that you're probably going to want to have a decent strength, and your vigor doesn't necessarily need to be huge. If you want to be really tough, your damage, like your what do you call toughness, is partly calculated based on your vigor dice. So if you want to be really durable and whatever, you're going to want that. But you can also bump that up by different edges you pick.
Okay.
So, and characters, yeah, you can pick another. You can use your hindrance points to 2 of them to pick another edge if you choose as well.
And so, where does stuff like persuasion or intimidation, which attribute do those use?
It's on page 7 of the PDF for the player's guide, but intimidation uses spirits as a governing attribute. Persuasion is spirit as well. Taunt is smarts.
Okay.
And depending whether you want them to be, like, there's sort of like different routes to get to the same point. So if you want to play a character who's, again, like, just because your spirit is not great, it doesn't mean that you can't raise your intimidate dice up. It's just that it costs you more. So, like, let's say your spirit was your spirit dice was a D6, but you want to buy a D10 in your intimidate. Well, the D4 costs 1, D6 costs 2, D8 costs 2 more, so it would cost 4 in total, and then the D10 would cost 2 more, which would be 8 in total. Skill points.
Right, and I only have 25 skill points, so.
Yes. No, 15 skill points.
Oh, only 15. Oh, that would be all my skill points just to be intimidated.
Yeah, it's a good chunk of stuff. So, yeah.
So I might want to use taunt and set instead.
You might want to, and a lot of the situations you can use that as well. Just remember, like, the reaction or how they respond is going to be based on what approach you use. If your guy's just a big tough smartass, then that's where you could do that. If but also, I mean, like, you know, a skill of D6 is not anything to sneeze at. You don't have to have a D10 in something. If you got a D6, remember that success in this is generally a 4. Unless there's some other factor that's played in, generally what you're looking for is a 4. And then if you roll, and dice explode as well too. So if you've got a D6 in Intimidate, one of the things I guess to bear in mind is after our first session, I'll let you guys rebalance your characters once we've seen them in play, and you're going to get 2 advances, which means you can like bump a skill up, or you can, bump 1 skill up that is above the governing attribute. You can bump 2 skills up that are below the governing attribute. You can gain a new edge, or you can bump up one of your traits. You can only do the traits once per tier, and it's basically 4 advances before you go up another tier. But it does give you the opportunity to later bump up your attributes. So between now and between the first session and the second session, you will have an opportunity to rework shit if you need to. One thing we have found in playing 2, notice is a pretty helpful skill. When you don't invest points in that, at least a D4 in it, it can be difficult. If you don't have points in a skill, what you roll is D4 minus 2. You still get to roll the D6, the wild dice, but it means that your skill's not great.
Right.
Steve, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, sorry. If I don't have this, okay. Where are my skills? They're on my thing here somewhere.
Yeah. So the skills are you add them in, and then you can see, Steve, on page 7 of the PDF. It gives you all the skills that are available in this setting. One skill that'll be particularly important for you, Steve, is weird science. Weird science is what you're going to be rolling to, to make use of your crazy inventions and shit.
Right. Okay. Weird science.
Okay. I think that's good for attributes.
You also, Steve, have to take delusional as an extra hindrance that you get no points for.
And I got no points for it.
No.
Okay, good.
One thing, again, that is really fun about Savage Worlds is the hindrances give you lots of fun shit to sink your teeth into for playing these crazy characters.
I like it.
Yeah, it's just a ton of fun to play.
So I picked Dark Secret for a major one.
Ooh, what's your dark secret?
Let's see. There's a demon who's got it out for me. That I summoned, and we're at war with each other, and I'm always sort of.
So you wouldn't necessarily summoned it, I think, but at least not intentionally.
Okay.
But yes, I love that. I will absolutely. You know what? Your guy's he's trying to fuck around with luck and shit like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a thing in this that's sort of, because of like voodoo is such a big part of the setting, there's kind of like a gambling demon that's in the setting. So like maybe there's someone who, like, that kind of like Devil Went Down to Georgia kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe it's that type of situation where like you use your fucking techno whatever to trick this guy to fuck with the probability.
Right.
And then he was like, what? So he's out to get you.
Right. Okay.
So that actually sounds more like an enemy than it does a dark secret, or it could be both.
All right. Let's see here.
So dark secret is kind of like, here's the way the dark secret would work, Steve, because it's something that, like, when it comes out, it causes you problems, right?
Right. Okay.
If it ever comes out, you gain a -4 to charisma. What could be, Steve, is that whatever your your gambling thing you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
What if you couldn't get it to fucking work? You just couldn't get the science part to work, and then this demon came up and was like, I can get it to work, and you were like, fine. So actually, it's this demonic power that's powering all these fucking luck devices.
That's good.
And if the secret comes out, then it doesn't affect the fact that you're a patent scientist. It just means that your most famous thing that you've done to sort of make money off of is a complete fraud.
Yeah, I'm just a fraud. Okay, I like it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I also know now who's going to show up in the session too. like I said, there's gonna be shit that happens to throw this off track. Okay, that's awesome. Okay.
Now, Kev, Guts is not on the list. Do we not use Guts in this version of the game?
No, we don't use Guts. You just use Spirit instead.
Okay. In the previous one, Guts was just crazy important.
Yeah, they've been inconsistent with the different editions. Actually, Steve, I want to show you something here too. Where, let's see here. Yeah, there you go. Steve, I opened that up for you. So if you're going to add skills, you can just click on which ones to show.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, yeah, that's awesome. I made a point over the weekend, guys, to sit down and read the entire setting book for this too, to make sure I got at least some of it kicking around in my head. And it's pretty fucking cool. Like there's so much neat shit going on in the city, but it's not so much detail that you drown in the in the minutia of this is what you find at the corner of X and Y Street,
Right. No, that's a cool map. I love it. I love this little sandbox.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so.
Well, that's what I might do as well too, because I'm so enamored of sandbox shit right now. Is I might just send you guys some rumors and some, some contacts that you guys have, and just you go where you want. Other shit will happen in the game, like the stuff you don't pay attention to. Stuff will happen in that, but yeah, just to get you that way, you guys get a chance to get a feel for the Big Easy, and we get to take this game in some unexpected directions. All right, Bart. Hey, Emmy, quit peeking.
So we get 15 skill points. Is that right?
You have 15 in total, yeah. And then you can spend 1 point on a 1-for-1 basis for your hindrance points. You can get extra skill points.
Okay. And sorry, how does it work again when going up again in skill points? It goes you spend 1, then 2, then.
Yeah, so it's 1 for each point up to the governing attribute. So like you got open, Steve, like you're shooting. Shooting costs 1 for the D4, 1 for the D6, and then a D8 would cost you 2 more. It would cost you 4 in total because your agility is only a D6.
Gotcha.
Okay. I love that it's got automatic GM rolls for you as well.
Yeah, nice.
Mm-hmm. Excuse me, my goodness. Oh, one thing I wanted to check while you guys are filling that out. How would you guys feel about your characters from our Shadow of the Demon Lord campaign making an appearance in our Skills of War campaign? Because
totally. That'd be cool.
I had a bonkers idea over the weekend of when to introduce them as not necessarily as like continuing PCs, but at least like to play as meaningful characters in a certain scene.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah, I thought it might be because I know you guys are attached to your characters for those, so I thought it'd be a neat way to introduce that. I can't wait for this Friday session. Holy shit! I am gonna kill so many PCs. I mean, we're gonna have so much fun.
Okay, so I think I did the skills right.
Okay. Your skills are all spent here, Jeff.
I think
so. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You got it right on the nose. Dang it, I was going to make some tea and I forgot to get it. Let's see here. Okay. So, Jeff, have you given... Oh, rebellious. You actually get 1 more minor hindrance as well, Steve. Or, yeah, Steve?
Yeah, sure. I'll pick that.
Demon power's my best work. I love that. Oh, it's going to be badass. Rebellious, that's cool.
That fits. And then what else? Impulsive.
Remember, you can pick like all the ones from the core book effectively are valid as well. And that's found on page. Hindrances are on page 49 of the core book.
And are there special hindrances or edges from this thing?
Yeah, there's hindrances, special ones. So I think Steve's taken all of his from the Noir book.
I have, yeah, they fit.
I love it. Yeah, impulsive is one of my favorite fucking things. Because it's just, you know, shit. You know, you're the guy who gets everyone else in trouble.
Right.
Okay, so we're supposed to take destitute, right?
Everybody has
destitute. Oh, destitute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone starts with destitute as well because of the depression.
But it doesn't count as more.
It doesn't count. And Steve also takes delusional.
Are you typing them in, Steve?
Cutting and pasting.
I'm cutting and pasting.
Yeah, from the PDF.
So what page are they on in the Savage Worlds?
In the Savage Worlds book, it's page 49. That's no, I don't know what page number is in the PDF, but in this one, it looks like this, Steve-O. I'll hold up to the camera. View. Yeah, you're on the mic. There we go.
Okay. Pages. There we go. Fine.
Oh, did either of you guys take notice as skills? Yep, Steve did. Oh, really well too. Wow.
I remember from experience that is a important.
That was great. I think it was Jeff. You didn't plan that one, but it was the Destiny one shot I played for or ran for Jaden. None of the guys put points in notice, so like
yeah, we suffer.
Everyone's like, we did not think about that.
And as we go on in the game, we will get advancements and we can advance our skills.
Yes, you can. Every session, you'll gain 2. So that way you guys will, in 2 sessions, you guys will be to seasoned. And then our last session of this, you guys will be playing at the seasoned level.
Okay.
And then what we'll do is we will revisit these characters too. Like if we, for any of the games that we play throughout the year, we can always go back to them as well too. Except for Blood and Bone. Fuck that game. We're not going back to Blood and Bone. I don't want to play that anymore.
Poor old Blood and Bone.
Okay, so Kev, I should take 1 major and 2 minor hindrances.
That's right. Yeah, and you can pick from the core book or from the other. Yeah, you guys are broke. Money runs through his hands like rainwater down a sewer grate. I totally sympathize with that. I believe that's one of my hindrances. I believe I'm a grim servant of death as well. I don't think I'm a grim servant in anything. Rebellious. What does this do here? Ooh, -2 charisma with respect to any person in position of authority. That's awesome. So, Steve, you're going to piss off like every cop, every, you know.
Sure.
That's great. Charisma is a really neat feature in this where it dictates, and I'm going to be using all of those rules. It dictates how, like, basically the starting response to you that NPCs have.
Okay. Where's our charisma score?
It's a 0 unless it otherwise says. So you don't have any hindrances that affect it on a global basis, but when you're dealing with people in positions of authority, you've got a -2. Because you believe, fuck the man. Now, while you're picking yourself too, I'll show you. Check out the awesome DM screen they put out for it too, guys. Check it out. Oops, let me get the glare. There we go. So we got some guys investigating some kind of. Oh, wrong way, Kev. Wrong way. What am I doing here? I can't figure it out. I think I'm having a stroke here, guys. What's going on?
Yeah. Call the ambulance.
Seriously. What the fuck?
There you go. Left is right, right is left.
Yeah, seriously. Why am I?
Up is down.
Oh, this is the one I'm looking at. So I was picturing the wrong thing. There we go. There we go. Okay, so check it out. This is one of the panels. An underground investigation with a bunch of skulls. And then some dude with a big, like, Packard kind of thing. And then some dame, gumshoe, or some gumshoe in her paramour. feels very setting appropriate. I could, I mean, we play digitally so or online, so I won't get many. The what do you call it? The screen won't have a lot of play, but playing in person, that would be very cool. Okay, so your toughness is set. Jeff, what do you think about your hindrances? What sounds right? Do you guys have names for your characters, by the way?
Oh.
It's now around the time to start thinking about that.
I think my character's name is going to be Butch.
Butch, I love it.
Nice.
Steve, is your guy a doctor, professor?
Malachi. Malachi McSorley.
Malachi McSorley. Go ahead and type that in for your name.
All right.
And is that Dr. Malachi McSorley, or is it Professor Malachi McSorley?
Professor Malachi McSorley.
Professor, does he go by Professor Malachi or Professor McSorley?
Professor McSorley.
McSorley, okay. I'm just reading the section on patent scientists. So they function like weird scientists from Savage Worlds. So let's take a look at what the rules for weird scientists are. Every time I dig out this game, I am reminded just how much I love this system. It's so easy to make really interesting and fun characters in it.
I'm considering using one arm as my major disadvantage.
Oh, that'd be cool.
How do you guys feel about that?
Well, that's a disadvantage.
Yeah,
but then again, you don't need it.
Don't drive stick.
He never drives, I guess.
Guess I'll be doing the driving. All right.
Okay, where is it here? All right, Steve. So the mad scientist is found on page 120 of the core book. And what happens? So you start with only one power, but that is a new gizmo. And you write down what it is. So you pick a power. So the example they give is like an inventor with the invisibility power, for instance, actually has an invisibility belt or a cloak or whatever. And it encourages you to give your device pseudo-scientific names as well, like Dr. Z's chromatic disfibrillating device. When you, let's see here, when you use the device, it spends your power points. Each item has a power point total of 10. And yeah, otherwise it functions just like the power. You make a roll with your weird science skill to activate it. Difficulties of 4, and then there's, depending on the power, you may get a benefit from the raise. If you roll a 1, though, then there's a 1 on the skill dice. Then there is a malfunction, and we draw a card, and then you'll see. Do you have that page open, Steve? 120.
120 of the core.
It should say arcane background weird science.
I have 120 open, but that's chapter 6 game mastering.
Maybe a little further back. You know, I could always open up the PDF copy. Where is it here?
Puppet, but I'm on powers.
Yep, keep on going forward. It's about 3 pages forward in powers, or 3 pages. Yeah.
Sorry, and what's the power again?
Arcane background weird science.
Okay. Armor.
If you're on the page with armor, go back. Let's see here.
Arcane background.
Yep.
Nope. Weird science.
Weird
there you go. Got it.
There you go. Okay. So what happens, Steve? If you roll a 1 on your weird science roll or dice, then we draw a card, and then depending on what suit the card is, whatever's listed there happens. So like the device explodes for 2d6 damage in a large burst template. There's a glitch where just so runs the range from just it stops working for a bit to it blows up in your fucking hands.
Okay.
Each time you gain the new power edge, you've invented a new gadget. So you choose a power and then decide what kind of power is in there. Each of your gadgets has the same amount of power, so 10 power. So if you wanted to, for instance, if you wanted to gain an extra edge and then spend that extra edge on new power, you could pick 2 powers and have 2 different devices. But to start with right now with what you've got, you have 1 power. So take a look through the list of powers. You can pick any of the ones that have a rank requirement of novice.
All right.
So things like bolt, blind, beast friend, armor, boost trait, burrow, burst.
Where's that list?
When you start flipping through, if you click forward, I'm just paging through the powers that are in here.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And like how it works is, and like how it looks in game isn't really important. Like, it's important for the game. It's important for us to know how it works, but you don't need to worry about, like if you've got a force field belt, you would build it as armor. If you picked, say, you can't get teleport. What could you get? Wall walker. Then maybe it's like your suction cup leggings or suction cup shoes or something like that.
Right.
So just figure out what power you want, and then we can figure out what the device actually is.
I guess for narrative purposes, maybe I should have my little gambling machine or something like that. Maybe like a booster lower trait kind of
thing.
Sure,
if you want, yeah.
Something that boosts luck. Is that possible, or what would it boost?
Let's see here. Well, we could say that that's the case, right? That's the narrative. It's a probability manipulation.
Right.
Let's see if there's any other things that would be particularly appropriate there.
Confusion.
Confusion could be, depending on whether you want it to be an offensive thing or a defensive.
Right.
Confusion instills basically what it does. So like the description is that it confuses, but the effect is that the target makes a smarts roll at -2 or they're shaken, which means that they're 1 step towards being knocked out. They can't take actions and they have to make. So what that could be is, like we could do a narrative description of what the bad luck is each time you activate that.
Right. It could be a bad luck machine on the opponents.
Yeah.
What page is this that you guys are on?
We're on. So on your physical copy there, Jeff, it's page 128.
I played a mad scientist when I played this game with some different friends of mine.
Oh, okay.
We were playing the Wild West version, and I was a Canadian character down in the States. And what I had invented was a ghost rock chainsaw.
That's awesome.
Ghost rock chainsaw, nice.
What ghost rock is Steve? Is that it's this like weird supernatural element that was found after the big quake hit California, and a good chunk of it fell into the ocean. It exposed this shit that would scream like evil spirits when you burned it, and it allowed mad scientists to create all this crazy shit. And it's from that patent scientists are derived.
Right.
Yeah. Like, are you just looking at the spells that he could add to a device?
Yeah. So he gets to pick one power.
Divination would kind of work.
Yeah.
Divination requires heroic rank, though. It's got to be.
Oh, it has to be. What rank does? Oh, it has to be novice, right?
Yeah. Deflection, actually, Steve, would if you want to, depending on how you want to interpret the luck thing.
Oh yeah.
That could be 2 if you want to have a more defensive thing.
Sure.
So
deflection can be used to manipulate dice.
Mind reading is novice.
Mind reading is novice. Yeah.
That would kind of work if it was like some kind of a card playing device.
Sure.
Yeah, it's up to you. Steve, like it's that's the fun thing with the power system is it manifests however it gives you an option to really pick some neat, cool, and evocative sort of explanation for why your power works the way it does.
Well, now the fun thing about mind reading is that the other character knows that they've been messed with.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you came and used this device at my poker game, and I noticed, and so that's sort of how our characters came to know each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. How's that work for you, Steve?
I like that. Psionic invasion. Yeah.
Right, and maybe you're trying to I'm trying to help you fine tune it so we can take it to like the big poker games and use it to get rich because
because we're all
greedy is one of my character traits.
We'll argue over loot game during gameplay. Oh, that's great.
Nice. Yeah, maybe I was using it, for sure, to make money because we're all destitute. So I invented a gambling device that is really a mind reading,
right,
powered by a demon, and then you figured out that I was using it against you. Yeah, I like that.
Right, you were using it at my poker game, and I caught on. And so after the game, I sort of cornered you and got you to divulge your tech to me. And so instead of being angry with you and making you pay me back for the money you won, I told you it was an investment in the technology and we would work on it together.
And rather than fight about it, I decided to go along with it.
Guys, I want to introduce something in here as well, and you can ditch it if you don't like it. Because power, like a device, is pretty, conspicuous. What I'm picturing is that maybe like Steve was in a corner with this sort of like whatever the thing looks like a little faux TV or whatever that was like reading the cards or the hands from people, and he was communicating to someone else who was in the game in a really clumsy way what was going on.
Right.
And that's when you sort of like, look, what the fuck? And
that sounds good.
Okay, because then because what did your character have like any kind of deception or anything like that, Steve?
My character? Not so much, no.
You do have gambling though.
Streetwise gambling and streetwise, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you would have been able to make the connections to, and actually because your streetwise is a D4, you may not have be able to distinguish between someone who is good at cheating at cards and someone who's fucking terrible at it.
Okay.
Like the guy was who you picked.
Let's go with it.
Okay.
So now, Kev, I just wanted to ask here, because the other minor hindrance I want to take is obligation.
Is which?
And obligation?
Oh, obligation, yeah.
I want to take it, then I'm running this poker game. And so, like, my regular players, and also the guy you said whose back room I'm using,
yep.
It's like a job. Like, I'm obligated to be there. And I was just going to ask you, like, how often should I make it to fill in a minor obligation? Should it be a weekly poker game? Should it be a nightly poker game? Should it be a few nights a week? Like the weekends? Here. Like, it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights kind of thing?
Let me just see here.
I'm just not sure how often to make it a difficult or just a minor obligation.
Where did you find obligation?
It's in the Noir thing.
Oh, the Noir thing. Okay, that's why I can't find it.
It's on page 12 of the Noir PDF.
Oh, okay, here we go.
So it says, for a minor, it generally restrains your time, such as a work schedule you can't alter.
Yeah. Okay, so I think the way that I would play that is an obligation you've got to Fat Dan to run the game there. Like you've got a deal going on where he's allowing you to keep the whatever percentage of the that the game brings in, but you got to be there for it.
Right, that's what I was thinking as well. But I was just asking, like, how many nights of the week should I make this obligation be? Like, I mean, it probably wouldn't be 7 nights a week, but
no, it wouldn't be 7 nights a week. I mean, I'm not sure we need to necessarily set the specific times for
them. 3 to 5 just to sort of.
Does it require you to pick?
Maybe it's not perfectly regular. Like maybe it's every Friday and Saturday night, but other nights it could come and go. Like all of a sudden,
Why don't we
the
say this?
character may contact me on a Tuesday and say, "Look, I got guys who need a game tonight. You got to be there."
How about this? Thursday through Sunday nights are the games. So you're unless Dan says otherwise, that's what you're on. Which means that those nights you've got to be there for that.
Okay.
Having worked as a waiter for a long time, I sympathize with how much that fucks up with your social life if you're sleeping.
I'm gonna say like 9 until it ends, or something like that. 9 p.m. until game's over.
Okay, that works for me.
What the consequence is from Dan.
Oh my god, because you're a one-armed guy who runs a poker game, I'm pretty sure everyone calls you the one-armed bandit behind your net back.
Oh, absolutely, it pisses them off.
Yeah. Okay. Did you pick a power, Steve, for your patent science device?
I guess mind reading.
Is that what you want to settle on, or don't again pick one that you can pick mind reading, absolutely, because we came up with a neat story for that too. But if there's another one that you want, that you prefer, like, that's fine.
That was just a suggestion. Yeah, you don't have to take it.
And what could have happened is that device.
I like
could
that
have
you having a little television that shows like what a person is seeing. You know what I mean?
Right, like this fuzzy version of them looking at their cards.
Exactly. Yeah. Something like that.
So go ahead and add a power then, Steve. It'll be, and you can just copy the information from mind reading into there.
Alrighty.
Did you add it?
The fun thing about that device, Steve, is it's got some really great investigative potential.
That's true.
Totally.
Like for us spying on people or whatever, there could be some real fun scenes with it.
You're talking to people while I'm looking at this little TV.
Right. Oh, I guess if it's a willing person, then it's the danger level is gone.
You know what, guys? This is 1935. This is pre-TV, so it could be a fucking radio that says their thoughts.
It's telling you the thoughts.
I'm listening to it.
Yeah, you got kind of like you know the opening of Ghostbusters where they've got the big like headset on and the weird little sniffer thing.
Right.
That could be like you got the big like radio broadcaster fucking headphones on with this weird thing in where you're listening.
But it's just like their internal dialogue. So you've when you're using it to spy on somebody gambling, you got to wait for them to think about their cards.
Fair enough. Yeah. I can tune into their thoughts and hear. Yeah, fair enough. I like it. So it looks like I'm listening to a portable radio or something.
And I think the scene where you discover this is that so Steve was sitting in the corner, listening to this thing with it plugged in and whatnot. But then someone walked by and just unplugged the speakers, and it acted as if like it was a stereo unplugged, where it's like, a pair of aces, a jack, and whatnot. I hope the the river card is whatever.
Right.
And then everyone was like, "What the fuck is?
What is this?"
That's awesome. Okay, so your cost, Steve-O, I believe is 3. That's 3 PowerPoints when you use it.
Okay.
The range is your smarts die, so it's and that's in yards. So your smarts die is a 10?
Smarts, just smarts. It is a 10. Yep.
Yeah, so it's just smarts. Duration is 1.
1.
Yeah, no, not smarts times 10, just smarts.
Smarts 10. Brackets 10.
Oh, he's right. He's right, of course. No damage. You learn 1 truthful answer from the subject. Interesting.
Wait, so...
Oh, so if you get a raise on it, Steve, that's where they don't know that you're intruding on their mind.
Okay.
Cool.
So do I click raise?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because it's got to track a raise. Cool.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
So do I only have 1 edge?
You only have 1 edge unless you're spending your hindrance points on that. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Otherwise, what about background edges? What are these?
Those are just categories of edges.
Oh, I see.
So Steve had to take his edge as the arcane background for patent science.
Right.
Because that's sort of your entry level. But then there's a bunch of cool other edges that he can take. Like Steve, you can take. You look at the patent scientist thing. You got ones like Eureka. Oh, actually, that's a legendary trait. One of the ones you take. Okay, so for those listening at home, mind control or mind reading is actually not one of the powers that's listed under patent scientists, but I don't see why it couldn't be. So I'm fine with it being your mind reading radio.
Thank you.
That's fucking cool.
Good place to start.
Yeah, like I mean, the reason they do that is to give each of the different areas sort of like its own feel. So like that. Grifters have a different set of powers to choose from than what patent scientists do, than what voodoo practitioners do.
Right.
But this has been this will still feel very different from how, you know, a mind controlling spellcaster would be, or grifter. And that's awesome. I'll bet you Brent will not take that. I think he'll probably take more combat stuff and defensive stuff, because that tends to be where he goes with it. And he'll rely, like, that will be his sort of combat shit. And then I think he's going to be playing a private eye grifter, which is great because both you guys, like all three characters, will have their own sort of feel to them. Which social skills did you take there, Butch? Well, I'm just going to go to your all tab there so I can see everything at once. Jeff, sorry about that. Intimidate and persuasion. And streetwise and taunt, that's great. Yeah, that's all great stuff.
I just took all the things that seem to fit with the character.
And that's perfect. That because you're going to have lots of opportunities to play up that what do you call it? Oh, I can't wait for you guys to get in a car chase now too. Because the only person who can drive has got a D4 in it. Oh, this is going to be great. Okay, so if you pick we got what your patent science ability is, then we got your charisma, your parry. I think the sheet has calculated for you already. Your toughness, it has calculated already. Then gear. So, Steve, you got $75 to spend.
Alrighty.
Sorry, no, Jeff. Everyone's got the poverty hindrance, not destitute. Destitute is even more broke.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. So you guys have $75 to spend, and the gear is listed on page 18 and 19 of the Noir book.
So. Poverty is...
and actually pages 13 and 14. And for the purpose of this, guys, one of the ways I'm going to, one of the rules I'm going to apply here to play up the poverty thing, if it's not on your character sheet, you don't have it. So make sure you're spending your cash appropriately if you want to have, if you want to have some walking around cash, make sure you save some. If you want to have things like a camera or, a flashlight or stuff like that, make sure you buy it and put it on your character sheet. Because if it ain't there, you ain't got it. And if it's easier, you can just include everything in stashed first, and then we'll just add it to Warren, because then you can just add shit to the list. So, Steve, you got $75. Spend as you want.
Alrighty.
Wait, how much is it? 180?
75.
Oh,
Yeah, $75. Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to buy pants and stuff, right?
You can assume that you have a set of clothing. But I think you're only going to, because it's the depression, you will assume you have one set of clothing. If you want to have a change of clothes, buy it. for those listening at home, before we went live, we had a brief chat about the my newfound, or not newfound, I guess, but like rediscovered love of some old school principles and concepts. And one of the things that I've realized as well is like the reason you enforce rules like encumbrance and what's on your character sheet is because, or one of the ways that the consequences of that is that characters or players have to pay attention to that shit, and that shit matters in the game then. So, you know, if you don't have rope or a flashlight or whatever on your character sheet, it becomes part of the game for you to go and get that stuff. And yeah, because we usually run a more loosey-goosey kind of game, which is appropriate for certain games we run. For this one, and for Traveler as well too, we're going to want to make sure we pay attention to that, because that, I think, adds for you guys. It gives you more reason to engage with the world and make it feel more real.
I think I'm going to take Jack of all trades for my edge.
Oh yeah.
It means that for anything that involves smarts, I don't take a penalty of -2.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Which one?
It's called Jack of all trades.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like, just the list of things that it gives me access to without a penalty is healing, investigation, knowledge, repair, survival, tracking, like a few things that we could probably use in sort of a investigative gumshoe campaign.
I like that.
It'll help us out, I think.
For sure.
So where's the equipment? Where does that start?
It is on page 13 of the PDF for the Noir Player's Guide. That page, next page, has your gear, and then if you skip forward a little bit further, it gives you the weapons.
Ooh, I could just go new power.
Yeah, like what did you spend your hindrance points on?
Rebellious, impulsive, dark secret.
No. Remember, you had those 4 points. I know what your hindrances are, but you had 4 points from your.
You spent them on his attributes.
Yeah, I spent them on attributes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So there you go. So I mean, what you could do, Steve, is you could take a look at if there's any attributes you can bump down.
Okay.
If you could get 2 points, every attribute bump cost you 2 points. So if you could bump one of your attributes down, it would give you 2 points back, which you could spend on an edge to get a new power if you want. 2
points for an edge?
Yeah. It's 2 points for an edge, 2 points for an attribute.
Because I don't need the D10s. When you're rolling your skills, well, how do you, and your attribute is more, what's the deal?
It just means that the only way the attribute interacts is the cost of each point.
That's it.
Yeah, and so if you bumped your agility down, that would mean your shooting of D6 would have cost 2 points more to go from D4 to D6.
The only thing I would bump down, I could bump down without affecting anything, would actually be my smarts from a D10 to a D8. And then I could get an edge if I wanted.
Yeah. You'd also bump your vigor down if you want.
What's that? I
could also bump your vigor if you're frail.
True. I don't like being too frail.
Should we be buying weapons, Kevin?
What's that, Jeff?
Should we be buying weapons?
You should. I would suggest that if you're a criminal, you're for sure going to want at least a pistol of some kind. I mean, it's up to you. You know that patter is a thing in this as well. But if you intend to use a gun to solve some of your problems, you should buy one. Otherwise, you will have to try to acquire one in-game somehow, whether legally or illegally. Yeah, Steve, you could bump your smarts down to a D8.
And there will be smarts rolls, though, won't there?
There are any kind of common sense stuff, like just general knowledge, that is a raw smarts roll. Smarts is also the thing that will be used for bumping a weird science. So if remember that with each advancement, you can use an advancement to once per tier to bump up an attribute, once, or you can get a new edge, or you can raise a skill that is, that's going above your stat, or you can raise 2 skills that are below your stat.
Right.
So like if you got, like, say if you decided to raise your notice and your weird science, you could spend 1 advance to bump weird science to D10 and notice to D10, because both of those are lower than your smarts skill right now, or smarts attribute.
Well, the only thing that's not being used right now is that extra die in smarts. So maybe I should buy. I like the idea of buying something with a bolt function to it. So maybe I should have like an electric bolt gun.
Sure. Are you saying bolt or volt?
Bolty bolts.
Oh, like a bolt, like Zorch kind of thing?
Exactly.
Ooh, love it. Yeah, that's awesome. See, one of the neat things that the game does too is the way that you choose to describe it. Those are called your trappings, and then you can see at the very beginning of the powers, the list of powers, there's a list of the trappings and effects. So, because you're describing it as a lightning gun, right? Effectively, it could be like, you could have it be conductive. So, like, you reduce the damage die of the power by 1, but you add an additional die of damage to targets who are carrying more than 10 pounds of metal, who are in contact with water, and so forth. You could,
I like that.
Cause spasms. So if you so if your bolt gun hits someone, they have to make a vigor roll or be at -2 to parry until the next round.
Right.
Or it can be armor piercing if the electricity arcs to a foe's unexposed area. So you could spend 1 extra power point to give it AP2. So you pick one of those things, and that's sort of the way that you describe the narrative part of your power.
Yeah.
It's neat because it's one of the ways that, like, you make that distinguish itself from like a fire gun or an ice gun or an acid gun.
Right. Electric gun.
Mm-hmm.
Damage power reduced.
That's cool.
That's kind of fun.
Okay.
Oh, you know what, Steve? You put mind reading under the wrong. It's under damaging. You put it. Let me just quickly swap it over here. 1 sec. While you're picking your thing. Oopsies.
Well, kind of like spasms. Harmful powers cause the temporary muscle contraction. The target has to make a vigor roll or be at -2 parry until his next action.
That's cool, yeah. Is that what you'd like for it?
I'm
Is you trapping?
thinking.
It's neat, eh?
Yeah. Because you're a bit more of a bruiser, right, Jeff?
Yeah.
I love the 1-arm thing too. That's so great. What game, other than GURPS, what game would you play that someone would choose to pick that as their, as a thing for their character?
So armor's not really much of a thing in this game, right?
Armor is, yeah, because you, there's mad science or grifter or spells like that. Some creatures will have that as well, and vehicles will have that as well.
No, but I mean like personal armor that you wear. Like it's basically you wear a bulletproof vest or you don't.
Yeah.
And they're $500, so.
Yes. So it's pretty expensive.
Now, Kev, you said
So what about? Yep.
You said we could have one outfit, and I don't see a suit on here.
You can just say you got a suit.
Okay.
It can, be a little worn, I think, but
I'd be willing to spend some of my starting money to say like that the one thing that he has is a nice suit.
I'm fine with that being a narrative thing.
Okay.
It's not going to impact one way or the other.
Right. It's just more for like running this game and like keeping up appearances at the.
Sure. Plus, it's going to be because A, you're a pretty big dude, and B, you've got one arm. There's going to be you're going to require on sort of the, bespoke suits.
Right.
Okay. So, Steve, you're going with Bolt then?
I think so. I reserve the right to change my mind, but I think I'll go with that for now.
Reserve the right to change my mind. Okay, so why don't we add Bolt to your damaging power? I swapped mind reading over to the appropriate category.
Oh, okay. Right.
So then you can just add the information from Bolt into the new power and call it something too. Like your mind reading, we know it's mind reading, but I would suggest giving it a cool.
Oh yes, dot Professor.
Yep. Give it a Professor P. Professor, or Professor, what's his name?
Professor M's.
What's your character's name again?
McSorley.
Professor McSorley. Oh yeah, right.
Professor M's.
Malachi
mental conductor.
I love the idea of this stupid headset shit on as you're listening. You see Butch look back at him to see if the guy's telling his truth, and you're like shaking your head with these big goofy. Do you have glasses?
Goggles.
Of course you do.
Goggles.
Oh man, this is gonna be so much fun to play. Okay, so you're adding Bolt in. Bolt 2. And you're gonna want to give a name to your Bolt power as well.
Right.
So it's and again, like you don't have to call it Bolt, you can call it the,
right.
The
Professor M's
static conduction gun or something like that.
Yeah.
I lowered my streetwise and I added shooting.
Lower your street. Okay, yep, absolutely.
If I'm gonna have a gun, it's kind of silly if I don't know how to shoot the thing.
That's a good plan. Yeah. It's there for effect.
Yeah, it's basically. So the gun cost me $40.
$40. Wow.
And the ammo cost $1.50, and a shoulder holster cost $2.50.
How old is Butch?
I'm gonna say like early 30s, like
Early
30, 32 maybe.
So he's potentially, if he's 35, he could have he likely would have served in World War One, because that was 15 years ago. And I wonder if that's maybe A, where he lost his arm, and B, where he got the M1911 is a U.S. Army sidearm.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that would be cool.
Cool. How about Professor McSorley? How old is he?
Professor McSorley. Good question. How old were you, Jeff?
35.
35. All right. Professor McSorley is 46.
46. So he for sure would have been in World War One as well.
Yes.
Okay. So maybe that's where. Oh no, we already got how you guys know each other, which is a much more interesting story than we met in the war.
And hey, to fire my bolt, that would be a shooting.
No, you would use your weird science.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the thing. You may actually not need shooting. Voltronic jumper. That's so good. Oh, that's funny.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, then maybe I'll get rid of shooting then.
Yeah, get rid of those points.
Okay, so I spent $44 on my gun.
Holy shit! It ain't come cheap, I'll tell you that.
No, that's
$4 for shooting.
my money.
Do you have any points in repair?
I got I got some repair. Yep.
Oh, sweet. Okay, cool. Just thinking. So yeah, I'm trying to think what else you could spend your points on. Healing is actually a pretty helpful thing if someone gets beaten up.
Get rid of guts and get healing instead.
Oh, actually, so guts is not a skill in the setting. The list of available skills is in on page 7 of the PDF.
Okay, because it's showing on this thing.
Yeah, you just take it off. So you got a free. So that should be a point back then.
All right. So healing.
Oh, you just converted healing. But you still got if you bumped your shooting down by 1, didn't you?
I did. I guess should I keep some shooting? Good question.
I don't know if you need it. Like, I mean, if you've got that Voltronic, depends on how you see your character. If you see your character as being trained in that shit, or is it just that the thing he does when he's in trouble is uses his Voltronic gun?
Right. What happens if it runs out of bolts, though? Does it recharge? Does it recharge after every combat?
It does not necessarily recharge after every combat. There's a time delay, so it's like I think like one. It's after an hour you get 1 point back. Let me find it for you, Stu, so you know. Okay, power points. You recover 1 power point per hour, and your bolt costs. So the basic bolt costs you 1 point, which does 2d6 damage. You can choose to juice that up to do 3d6 if you spend 2 points, or you can spend up to 3 points to send 3 bolts out to go like send a spray of them out.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Yeah, so it's like 1 point for 1 bolt that does 2d6, 2 points for 1 bolt that does 3d6, and then up to 3 points to do an equal number of bolts that each do 2d6.
Wow.
Use some variety there.
Yeah.
And you can spread it among targets, or you can all have it hit the same person or whatever. So that's how fast you'll go through it. It's worth noting too, Steve, that there are edges you can take that speed up your PowerPoint recovery.
Oh.
Yeah. So there are plenty of this game. There's no shortage of cool options to pick.
And when I fire it, can I pick any of those electric subcategories?
You're going to pick one that's what it does.
Okay.
And then we'll see. Like, I mean, like if I might allow you to do is if you get a raise, you could switch it, or you could apply a second one.
Okay.
Normally, look with damaging attacks. What happens is when you get a raise, you get to add a d6 to the damage. But what I'll let you do is you could, instead of the extra d6 of damage, you could add another effect, or some other side. Like the game supports improvising really quite well. So if you wanted to say like use your voltaic gun or whatever, or your Voltronic, what is it called again? Sorry.
Oh, Voltronic jumper.
Voltronic jumper. So if you say wanted to use the Voltronic jumper to blast out all the lights in a room, right? And like have it shoot through and blow everything out. I'd let you spend the power points and you can do that.
Cool. I'll go with the spasms. I like that.
Yeah, like this is one of the ways where like defining the specific power will allow you to figure out, it helps us figure out what it could or could not be used for. If you regularly use it to do some specific thing, like I wouldn't let you use it to emulate another power necessarily, but I might let that if you spend a Benny.
Right.
So say like you wanted to make it have an area effect. I could let you do that, and we would use blast instead or burst instead of that. Same thing with your mind control thing as well. If you wanted to say like, I want to use it to do confusion instead for this thing, you spend a Benny, and then you could use it to, instead of reading someone's mind, you're disrupting their thoughts.
Right. It's a mental conductor, so maybe reverse it.
Yeah.
Throw some voltage through their brain.
Yeah. Like those bennies are pretty important to keep you alive as well, because it's what you use to soak damage. But it's an optional rule from the Superpowers Companion. We've had a lot of fun with that, so I think that I'll let you do that. That way you also can get a chance to try out some other powers too.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see here. I think, Steve-O, Malachi McSorley, if you've spent your money, or are you still spending your cash?
Still spending my cash.
Oh, check it out. At the bottom of the character sheet, guys, when you've got it on the all option, it shows you all the combat options.
Yeah, right.
That is fucking cool. Yeah, that's really cool. Love it. Good sheet. Good sheet. Jeff, how goes your purchases?
I think I'm almost done. I'm not really sure what else to buy other than the gun at this point. I have the suit.
You can just keep it as pocket change. Like there's, you don't need to spend all your money.
Yeah, like I think you would keep it around for gambling purposes or.
Cool. Steve-O, have you spent your money?
I have not spent my money.
Okay, so if you want to spend it, you go nuts.
Just putting in my descriptions for my powers here.
Oh, sure. Yeah, go ahead. Of course.
I did come up with a little bit of sort of flavor for the character.
Yeah, shoot.
So I spent money on a like a chest holster or whatever they call them.
A concealed holster?
Yeah, a shoulder holster, like so you have it here on your side. And so he's got the sleeve of his suit where he's missing the arm. He had the tailor basically turn it into a large pocket, like so he could reach in and pull his gun out where his arm would be.
Cool.
So it's like sort of this giant pocket on the side of his suit.
Yeah, that's cool. Do you have an actor in mind who'd be playing Butch?
Yeah, actually, I sort of picture him a little bit like, have you watched Gotham?
Yep.
Yeah, Butch from Gotham.
Oh, okay, cool. That'll be easy to find a reference photo for him I can put into the character then. That's great. Steve, how about you? You got an idea what Professor McSorley looks like?
Where did I see it? There was a picture of a mad scientist in the book that looked pretty appropriate.
Is it the white-haired guy in the white lab coat?
Yeah, or no, where was it? Maybe I'm looking at a mad scientist again here. It was a guy with electric equipment on him and sort of white hair and goggles, which looked pretty perfect.
Yeah, I think I know which one you're talking about. I think it's actually on the.
Yeah, there he is.
Signs.
There, he's got his equipment right on him. There.
Yeah, with the like Jodhpur pants on.
Yep, page 41.
Yeah. Okay, cool. That's great. I'll put that in. that's so great. Oh man, this is why I love when I let you guys make your characters. I would never have guessed that you would have come up with these two characters.
Right.
It's always a pleasant surprise for me. So what I'll do between now and the next session, guys, is I'm gonna send you some. Well, first off, I'll encourage you to take a look at the settings section on that, and don't worry about it between now and Traveler. I'll remind you next week, so that way you're not getting too many games in your head. But I'll remind you guys next week, and then maybe Steve, actually, you and I need to go over breakfast again soon, and we can talk about what what's going on with Professor McSorley. I'm going to give you guys some leads to follow up as well too. I'll have a story that where Fat Dan needs you to do stuff, but I think we'll get to give it more a good feel of that there's a living city out there. I'll give you some other contacts and I'll give you some of the rumors you've heard about.
Cool.
Okay.
You guys can do what you want. You are, because of your obligation to Fat Dan. I think that if you guys don't agree to do the thing for pay, because I think what he's offering you. Let me see what the pay is here, guys. Now that we know how far money goes. Whoa. So he's offering a generous bar tab. And what it is, actually, I can give you if you want to know like we'll role play through it too, just to give you guys a preview of what we're doing here. So Fat Dan has, like I said, he operates the old Absinthe House. And as regulars there, you guys have known that his most recent sort of starlet or featured starlet is this red-haired beauty named Delia Star. And Delia has been drawing in a pretty decent crowd. And because she's just a fucking amazing singer. Every Friday and Saturday night from 10 till her pipes give out, she sang in the old Absinthe House, which means you guys know it quite well. Well, what Fat Dan's told you is that Delia's gone missing. Just didn't stop showing up. Sang her set on Friday night, but didn't come in on Saturday. So this will be early Sundays when you guys are finding out about this. And what he says is that, obviously you can't, because it's the Depression, there's not a lot of cash kicking around, but it'll give you a tab for $100. You guys can split it however you want between the two of you. $100 of a bar tab if you can find her, and I'll even give you $50 for your trouble if you can't. But if you can tell me what's happened, and if you want to know what Delia Star looks like, guys, this is what your missing crooner looks like. There we go. So that's sort of the setup there. As, I don't know, does that $100 bar tab sound attractive for either of you guys?
Sure.
For Butch or Professor McSorley?
Well, Butch can definitely use it to soften up his guys at his game. So.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Butch not only runs the game, he plays in it all the time. So, $100 bar tab goes a long way. One, to attract some maybe some higher class gamblers to the game.
Sure.
And also to soften them up so that Butch can try and take their money. So feels like he can maybe convert $100 bar tab into some of it in cash.
Yeah. Oof. Here's how gambling works. Is a quick way to simulate about half-hour gambling without having to roll for every single toss the die or cards is everyone agrees in the stakes, such as $10, whatever. Now have everyone in the game make a gambling roll. The lowest total pays the highest total, the difference times the stake. So for instance, if someone rolls 10 and the lowest is a 4, it means the guy who rolled the lowest pays $60 to the other.
Wow.
Yeah. You can cheat. If you cheat, you add +2 to your roll. But if you roll a 1 on your skill die, you're caught cheating. That'll be cool. Steve, you got gambling for your character as well, right?
I do.
I thought you might like that. So that'll be cool. Yeah, well, not even the cheating. I just think that'd actually be a pretty fun mechanic to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not you guys can. It gives you a potential of making some decent money with it, but there's always the risk of if you roll a 1, and in this critical failures in Deadlands Noir, you cannot re-roll them. In Deadlands normal, if you roll a 1, you can spend a Benny and re-roll and get rid of that crit failure, but you can't do that in this setting.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, it fits the sort of the theme that they're going for. There are some other neat little situational rules, like knocking people out. You can sneak up and knock people out more easily. The blood and guts rules are going to be blood and guts means you can spend bennies on damage rolls, and gritty damage, which is going to be awesome. Whenever you take a wound, we automatically roll on the injury table to see what specific wound that is.
Okay.
So I think that's going to be fun. I mean, fun in the sense that it'll be more evocative of the damage rather than just sort of tracking like wounds like we do in normal Savage Worlds. Second wind. Yep, that's cool. This is going to be so much fun. Man, I can't wait. Okay, so have we spent our cash now, guys, or have we decided on what we're going to be starting with? We got our Voltronic jumper in there. Nice. Well done. Well done.
I've got some equipment. I don't really have that much, so yeah. I got a flashlight.
No, that's fine. You I think it's hysterical that one of the columns in here is party bag.
Is what, sorry?
It's called party bag, and like it's clearly meant to be like the group loot, but party bag just
right. Just sounds like a bag of drugs. Yeah.
That or just like some like Pauly Shore-esque kind of thing from the 90s. It's a party bag.
Right.
Okay, so you got a flashlight, and you got your gear, shit like that. And where's your cash? Did you list it? What you got left over?
Where is my cash?
I just put under stashed, maybe.
Stash.
Unless there is an area for money.
I'll put it in my party bag.
Party bag! No, because the party bag is the shared thing, so you're sharing it with the party bag. And under PowerPoint, Steve, you can put down 10
money.
10.
Here we go.
Where is
money? 73 to the top.
Boom, boom, boom.
Underneath XP rank. And
excellent. Okay, cool. So your race is human. Gender's male. Your age, you said was what, 45 or 46?
Human, gender, male, age 46.
Okay. And how is Booch? Where
do I get armor and weapons from? Or where armor?
Armor, you don't have any. You could. The only one that's available right now in the setting that isn't like a magical or a patent science thing for you is a bulletproof vest, which costs $500.
Okay.
So, yeah. Jeffrey, have you got all your stuff?
Yeah, I think I'm just going with the gun for now. I'm gonna have pocket cash that he has.
Okay, so let's see here. We got human male 35. How much cash do you have left over?
$31.
$31. I'm just gonna put that in for your money.
Where'd you find the gun?
Right. Yeah, it was an expensive gun.
Guns are on page 18 and 19 of the Noir Player's Guide.
Okay.
Okay. So we know about your stuff here. $75. Great. Jack of all trades. That's going to be pretty helpful, I think.
Yeah, I think that was a good choice.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So I think that our investigators are I hesitate to say heroes here, but we're not we have our characters ready here, so that's great. Then I will upload the photos or the pictures for your characters between now and the next session, which will be in 2 weeks' time. But yeah, do you guys have any questions about the Noir setting or anything like that? Or
I don't think so.
Good to go. Yeah, like I said, I'm going to send you some background stuff that'll just be in like point format, and then you will just at the start of the session, I'll do a little bit of an intro sort of thing. We'll role play through you talking to Fat Dan on the Sunday when you guys come in, and then we'll just start fucking playing, and we'll see where the session goes.
Yeah.
Well, this is going to let me swap back to the main camera here. Stop sharing. Let me shut down. Boom. Roll 20. Turn my camera back on. See how that goes. Boom. Awesome. Okay, guys. So those characters are ready to go. That was a lot of fun. I am really looking forward to seeing these characters at the table. For those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us for this character creation session for Deadlands Noir. We hope that you have enjoyed meeting Butch and Professor McGonagall?
McSorley.
Why the fuck do I get that wrong every time? Jesus.
I know McGonagall.
I got the fucking the like attention span of a housefly, and the retention of an Etch-a-Sketch. We will be back in Deadlands, New Orleans, in 2 weeks' time. In a week's time, we'll be back on Marduk, where we'll be continuing our Pirates of Drinax sandbox campaign, playing Traveler. But on Friday, we go back to the Shadow of the Demon Lord, where we'll be continuing our ongoing Scales of War campaign, which I am very much looking forward to. The guys find themselves trapped in a dungeon and are about to see the consequences of failing to clean up after yourself. So I'm looking forward to that. If you have, as always, for those listening at home, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns regarding the session or the game that we're playing or the rules, please don't hesitate to leave a comment in this comment section below, and I will endeavor to respond in a timely
Fashion.
manner. Jesus Christ. How is it only Wednesday and I'm this brain dead already? If you have any questions about this or comments on it, please don't hesitate to leave a comment. In the last couple of weeks, we've seen a lot more people leaving things on the comment section, and I love getting those, and I love responding to those. If you have a question for the guys as well, too, for Jeff or for Steve, about their decisions about their characters or how they're planning on playing them, or the rules behind their characters, please don't hesitate to leave that there, and I will pass that message along to Steve and Jeff and allow them to respond. So otherwise, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you again very soon.